Hi, Sebastian here, and in this little video you will learn how to use the new extended formatting feature of the UHT display designer. Let's go. So let's open up the designer here and start with a little template. And this is a very simple template, but already as you can see, if you're a beginner and see this for the first time, it can be a little bit intimidating at first because you see a lot of different things going on here. We have a lot of these dashed lines here, which are the containers, of course, and are kind of nested inside each other on top of multiple levels. And this is something that many of you thought is a bit confusing, and so I tried to make this whole process simpler for you by introducing a new feature called extended formatting. What many of you expect when they for the first time select a text component is that they kinda can simply mark part of the text here and then maybe change its color. But they will see that it doesn't work like that. You can always have only one styling for the whole container. So no matter what I do, there is always one style for one container. And if I want to have different styles, like for example here for the caption and for the value, I always need to create two separate containers where I can, the upper one can, for example, make the color pink and the bottom one stays white. I cannot do this inside only one container because, just like I said, the whole container shares always one style configuration. But this changes now with the extended formatting. As you may already saw here, we have a new checkbox here above the input field and I can enable it. And now I have additional tools that I can use to format my text. So, for example, I can now go and put a few stars around the word to make this text bold. And as you can see here, the text just got even thicker here. I can also go and make this text underlined by putting underlines around it. And now I have only one word underlined and bold, and the other one is still just like before. I can still, of course, change the color however I like, which will also be applied to the whole container, but I have now additional tools to change only parts of the text that I am formatting. And as you can see here, I can also enable and disable the extended formatting through here. And if I do this, I will just get the whole text that I entered here displayed like it's supposed to be this way. But if I enable the extended formatting back in, I will get the new style again. So always make sure you have actually selected this checkbox or your text will be displayed a little bit weirdly. This is of course not everything that you can do. All the information is here in the help menu. You get a few examples what is possible here with this new feature. So let's go and do something else. Besides this quick formatters here, I can also change color, text size, line height, or even the font of the displayed text here. So let's go and change the color, for example. I can open square brackets, type C for color, and then tell it which color I like, for example, yellow. Close the bracket, and then I go to the end of the point where the text should be yellow, and also type this C inside it. So I have to open with brackets C equals the color that I want, then have the content that I want to style, and then tell the system this is the end point where the color modification stops. And if I hit save here, you will see that now one of the words is another color than the other, and this of course overrides whatever the container test tells this component the color should be. So if I change the color here, you will see that the default text changes the color, but the ones that we overwrote here with our extended formatting rule stays the same. We have even more options here. So for example, let's change the sizing of the word left here. So we just go back into our editor, and just like before, instead of typing the C keyword, we type S for sizing and tell it the value 2. And now we need to specify where this special styling ends. And this is here, this is told by the system with this syntax here. And now you can see that the left word is now bigger. And how it works is basically that you tell the system to make this word 2 sizing units bigger than it would be without the styling. So now, even if I increase the font size of this whole container, you will see that the left word will always be 2 sizing units bigger than the default here. We can even go ahead and change the fonts of the text here. We can use basically every font that is available to us here in our dropdown. So even if you add custom fonts here, you will also be able to use them as long as they show up here in the dropdown. And here, for example, let's go and take Impact. So just like before, I will open the editor here, and now I want my yellow text to be formatted in this different font. And just like with the others, we open the square bracket and tell it F for font and tell it to be Impact. And now I only want the player's text to be with this font, so I close the font right after the players. And if I save it now, you can see here that this word and only this word got now formatted in a different font than before. So those were the main features, but maybe you ask yourself, why is it useful? And what can you do with it, and how can it save you time when you're designing a new display for yourself? Let's go ahead and start over. And let's imagine we want to recreate this design here, but we want to have something like this here. So we have the captions always be in a different color than our values beside them. And you can see here that we have a pretty complex layout here. So we have quite a few containers inside of each other, which we need to stack in order to get this information above each other and for each grouping of informations. So when we open our preview here, those values stick together and are not separated through the containers here. And let's try to make this a little bit easier. So the first thing is, let me copy this text here and simply remove this whole container. And now also remove this container. So we only have this wrapping container here, and we add text and enable extended formatting for it. So we had here players left, and on the other line we had this condition here. And as you can see here, it already works, but we of course want the same styling as the other parts of the design. So let's open it up again, and now we can go and tell it to be a certain color, and the color should be the same as with the other ones. And if I save now, I already have the caption correct here. Let me make the whole container a little bit smaller so the font size matches the other ones. And now what's left is, of course, we need to make this caption bold. So let's go back in and add a few stars around players here. Oh, that's the wrong one. And now it looks basically exactly the same, but we have to create 3 containers less than before. Let's check out the preview here. It basically looks the same. You can't tell that this is only 1 container and those are 3. And this is the whole magic. It is much simpler now to create the whole design. Let me go and copy this whole thing here and basically remove all these other containers here. And now add back my text. And this time it was the average stack. So let me call it average stack. And now we simply use the correct placeholder here. I simply copy it here. Oh, and of course enable extended formatting. Let's make the font size one smaller. And now we already have the same result, but we created much less of containers and much less clutter here. So everything looks much more tidy than on the other side here, while getting the exact same result as before. The extended formatting comes along with another very powerful feature, and this is evaluating of conditions. So just like here with our display conditions, where we can specify a condition to hide or display a whole container, we can do it now right inside our component. So let me show you an example here. For example, let's say that when we have entered our ITM phase, we want to apply some special formatting to this component here. So let's go and tell the system here that players left should only display the players left without the entrance once we reach the money, and we have some cool fire emoji to be shown here. So we can now use square brackets and then just write if and then specify a condition. For example, ITM phase equals yes. And now everything we write between this if statement here will be shown whenever we reach the ITM phase, and this should be, of course, our players left. And we also want to have some nice fire emoji since we reached the money. And the same rule should also be applied here above. So when the ITM active is no, we simply display our information just like before. So let's go and save it. And you can see now basically nothing has changed. That's why we have not reached the ITM phase. We're still 5 of 5 players, but we can change this. Let's go and change our players here. So once we go now to only 3 players, we display as a different text here with the 3 players left and our fire emojis. So maybe you're wondering why there is this additional line here. And this is simply because we used line breaks here. If I remove the line breaks here, or let me show it to you here. This is the text here, and you can see each one here is in one line, but the last two ones shouldn't be in a line because only one of those is always displayed. So if I remove this line break here and save it, I will get the same design as before. So now if I change our players back to top, I can see that I have a different formatting here, and I can now even more customize all my components the way I like it. Of course, you can use any placeholder you like inside your conditions, just like with the display conditions here. And you also see that UHT knows that this is a special component now, since it can change its its display based on the condition. You see this red border here. And always when you see a red border, it always indicates there is some kind of display condition involved. So in this case here, it's inside the component, but you could also specify a display condition inside here. And it would also get a red border and also a red message here. So you know this container can change its display by itself. And of course, if we go now and open the preview, we'll see the usual layout, just like we would expect. But now we have much, much more power on what we can do with every single text container. So let's see one last example. And for this, let's switch over to our professional design here. And here we use one of our analog clocks timer components, which has quite a few of options here. And two of the options are the upper and lower text here. So you can modify what the clock shows on top and on the bottom of the main timer. And up until now, this was a simple text which could use placeholders, but now extended formatting is also automatically enabled for these fields. So now you could, for example, go ahead and tell it, okay, I like this blue color here. I also like this caption here should also be the same blue. Let's go and add the bracket color with the C with the color that we just provided, and after the next break text we simply close it, and now we have a very nice caption text here, just like the other captions, not all the everything in white. And if we check out our preview, this looks pretty cool, I think. We could even now go ahead and simplify all the other parts here. We could, for example, unite these two texts into only one component, or these two here above, or the break and the level could become only one component, just like the next level and the break, which are split up into different containers now. I hope you get the idea and you see how beneficial these new tools are. I hope you get to try it and give me your feedback either here on YouTube or on our Reddit or on in our Reddit channel. And as usual, if you like the content and you like UHT, give us a thumbs up to help our channel reach more people like you. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.